Alright, welcome back. Ready for another video. And the objective for this video, if you want to write this down at the top of your Cornell notes, is to be able to order a list of integers on a number line. Once again, the objective that you need to write down is to be able to order a list of integers on a number line. And so let's start with a definition of an integer. So please write in your left-hand column the definition of an integer. And the definition of an integer is basically all whole numbers and their opposites. All whole numbers and their opposites. So just to refresh your memory, a whole number is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. It does not include decimals, so 1.2 would not be a whole number. It does not include mixed numbers, so 7.5 is not a whole number. We probably know what whole numbers are. And then included in integers are all the whole numbers plus their opposites. So the opposite of 3 would be negative 3. The opposite of 127 would be negative 127. So we usually say all the definition of integer is all whole numbers and their opposites. And so that would include negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. So underneath that you can write some examples. The examples that I've just given are a few that you can come up with. And that would be the definition for integers. Okay, moving on. We want to be able to order integers on a number line. So if we start with, usually when we writing a number line, we start with 0. It's not always the case. 0, and then as we move to the right, in the right direction on our number line, we increase in whole numbers. So that's 1, 2, 3. Of course, sometimes we write the numbers on the bottom of the number line, but it doesn't really matter. And then this arrow indicates that these numbers keep going on forever in a positive direction. And then if we extend this number line out to the left, an equal distance away from 0 is going to be in the left direction. This is the negative direction. That's going to be negative 1. And then as we move on to the left, the negative numbers increase the further left we go. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. And again, you'll notice that both of these are equal distance away from 0, but up on the obviously opposite sides. 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let's say we have a list of integers. I will just put some here, and again, you're taking notes, so you put this organized into Cornell Notes, left-hand side being the cues, keywords, right-hand side being the examples. I expect you to write more than just what I have written. You need to also write what I'm saying. Okay, so here's one example. Let's say we have negative 7, 4, 2, negative 1, 8, and negative 3. Okay, now the first thing I would do if I was going to list these or order these in a list on a number line is I would figure out what is my biggest negative number. So if I look along this set of numbers, my biggest negative number is negative 7. And the next thing I do is I look at the biggest positive number or positive integer, and that's going to be positive 8. So I can tell that these are both approximately the same distance away from 0, just in opposite directions. So if I start my number line with 0 being in the center, this time I'll list them underneath. 0 is in the center, then if I start it just like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not going to have enough space. And likewise in this direction. So since my largest negative value is -7, and my largest positive value is 8. I'm going to go by 2's. So I'm going to call this 2, and then 4, 6, 8. Now, obviously, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in between there. This is just for the purposes of scaling. And so now I'm going to go in this direction. I'm going to make all equal distance. This is going to be -2, -4, -6, and oops, look at that, -8. Now, I said my biggest value in the negative direction was -7, so that's going to go approximately right here between the -8 and the -6, and so I don't do it twice. I'm going to cross that out. And let's see, I can go ahead if I want. It doesn't really matter if you put them, if you do the 4 next and the 2 next, just as long as you get them all on here. My 8 is going to go here. Okay, and then let's see, I'll just do my 4. That's easy. I'll put the 4 right above the 4, and 2 right above the 2, and -1 again is going to be halfway between -2 and 0. So there's my -1, and I have a -3, and -3 is halfway between -2 and -4. So here's my list, and I could rewrite this if I wanted to. -7, -3, -1, 2, 4, and 8, and I have them all on this number line as well. Okay, let's do one more now. Let's say I have the values, let me see, I'll just do this. Let's say I have the values -28, and then 34, and then -6, 15, 7, and -12. Okay, now, just like we did before, I'm going to look. My largest negative integer is -28, and my largest positive integer is, let's see, that would be 34. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to, again, they're about equal distance, roughly from 0. Maybe the negatives are a little less, so maybe I can start a little left of center on my paper. I'm going to call this 0. And these are rather large values, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the positive direction by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, and 35. Just made it. Okay, and in the negatives, I'm going to go -5, -10, -15, -20. Ooh, I'm going to get close here. -25. Wow, I think I just made that by the skin of my teeth there. So I'm going to have to go back and forth when I plot these for you. But I think it will work. That's why we always do things with something that we can erase, right? Okay, here we go. -28. As I go into the negative, I just barely made it on this. Really, I could redo this, but I'm going to put that here. That's my -28. Okay, and my positive 34 is going to be way over here between 30 and 35, and a little bit closer to the, I'll put it right on the line, a little bit closer to the 35 side. That's my 34. And my -6 is going to be approximately right here. -6. My 15, that one has right on the line. Okay. My 7 is a little bit, it's right between 5 and 10, but a little bit closer to 5. And -12 is between negative 10 and 15 and a little bit closer to the negative 10. Okay, so you can see, and I'll just pan across here again, all the way from negative 28, negative 12, negative 6, 7, 15, and 34. And so that's how you would order a list of integers on a number line. Okay? Now, the summary for this objective here would be to order a list of integers on a number line. First, figure out what is your greatest negative integer. Figure out what is your greatest positive integer. Figure out how you're going to scale that on a number line so that it would fit the largest negative integer and the largest positive integer, and then go ahead and list those out on your number line, drawing them in the appropriate place and crossing them out so you don't repeat or miss any. Alright, that's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.